everyone, welcome to another episode of startAD Studio, where we have with us today Smeetha Ghosh, co-founder and CEO of Cashee, a proud startup in the Cohort 6 of the MAN Social Incubator program. Hi, Smeetha, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Sabira. Thank you for having me here today.
Definitely, I'm so excited to speak with you. Can you let us know more about Cashee?
Sure, absolutely. Cashee empowers teens to manage their money now so they grow to become financially responsible adults. And I know that's quite a mouthful, but in simple terms, what we're offering teenagers is the ability to manage their money digitally by giving them a free digital banking application, as well as their own Visa card that they can use. And it makes it very intuitive and easy for them to track their money, where they're spending, how much they're earning, how much they're saving, what they're saving towards, all in one app on their mobile phone. So it becomes super easy for them to manage their money. And we're hoping that through the lessons that they learn by doing, as well as with the lessons that we provide them in financial literacy in the application in the future, they can take these lessons with them as they grow to become hopefully more financially aware adults.
I have to tell you, I wish the solution was there 10 years ago, because I would have definitely used it. For sure.
I wish the solution was there 20 years ago, giving my age, because I would have used it too.
Perhaps I can use it today. It would come up use even. But that's great to know. So I know that you said you wish you had the solution. So what is your background like? Like what made you come to the solution? What made you come to becoming an entrepreneur to solve an issue in the financial literacy space?
So with Cashee, I would say, the aha moment of, hey, this is the business that I want to start and grow and, succeed in, was very profound. So this was about 2 years ago when my co-founder and I, Brad, we were sitting and ideating on business ideas that we knew we wanted to work within a certain sector, which was creating digital solutions for kids and teens, because we felt that this segment was underserved. And we were looking at different concepts. And he sent me an article about this bank in New Zealand that was doing something in the space of youth banking. And when I read that article, immediately, something clicked in my brain. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I wish I had this app when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. And then with a little bit of research into the space and, what are parents doing? What are educational institutions doing around financial literacy? I came to the conclusion that this is a global problem. This was not just a problem for the UAE or the Middle East. It was around the world. And there were fintechs and, businesses like Cashee that were popping up to serve users like Cashee users, like teenagers, kids, even parents, because believe it or not, parents are struggling to teach their children about money because they don't have the time for a variety of reasons. They don't have the time. They don't know what to teach. They don't have the right tools or resources. And there are many challenges about teaching children about money the right way at home. Mm-hmm. What we want to do is provide a solution, not just for the teens, but also for the parents to help make this easier.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, because you're not only looping in responsible young adults, you're also teaching parents how to do the same, right? Exactly. And I think that's fantastic. So what is your background like, Smeetha? Were you also, was finance also something that you've taken up in your studies as well? Or is it something you've pursued later in your life?
So my background professionally has been in marketing, right from, I would say, the early years. My educational background has been in engineering. So I am an engineer, and I topped that up with an MBA in marketing and entrepreneurship later on. But my career has been in marketing. It has been in product development. It has been in communications. And eventually, as sort of I was growing in the ranks, it was in managing business units within companies. Now, finance is something that I've learned as part of a curriculum, but it wasn't something that I was implementing on a day-to-day basis at home at work. But what you implement in terms of finance at work is very different from personal finance. So these are two completely different streams of education, thinking, and even, execution in terms of habits, etc. So so while I am not from a finance background, I don't necessarily think you need to be from a finance background to run a business of this sort. So I believe, if anything, my background in product development and marketing is actually serving me more in my role as a CEO and sort of chief marketing officer as well, to make sure that we are approaching the business the right way in terms of thinking of the product as well as our go-to-market strategies.
That's fantastic. So finance is not something you necessarily took up, but your other skills and expertise are coming into use for Cashee. And that's good to hear. And you've had such a long, like such a prolonged journey coming to where you are today. So what is the biggest mistake you're glad that you've made?
It's a great question. I've wanted to start my own business for the longest time. I could just never figure out what it was. And I would say over the last maybe 10 years before I actually started Cashee, I've been dabbling in business ideas and business concepts and making business plans to see, is this something that I think it could work? But every single one of them fell by the wayside because I was just not convinced enough. And as a result, I wouldn't call it a mistake, but as a result, what happened was I spent many years in the corporate world than I would have actually cared to. While it's not a mistake, what I'm really happy about is it gave me the time to really reflect and zero in on the one business idea for now that I'm willing to back 100% completely, not just with money, with my time as well, which is, perhaps even more valuable. As a mother of two really young children, it's really, you have to have that. There is no balance, but you need to try and sort of, maintain a semblance of balance. But it does take away a lot of my personal time. And the fact that I'm willing to put it away and sort of invest it into my business is a decision that has been consciously taken because I believe in Cashee and I believe that, we will be successful. So I think the benefit of spending more time in the corporate world than I would have cared to definitely gave me the time to reflect and really come to this conclusion that this is what I wanted to do. At the same time, the years of experience that I've had in the corporate world, as well as sort of moving up the ranks, it's given me the skills and the knowledge that I need to run a business, because I've run business units before. While a startup is a completely different animal, there are many similarities. So, there are pros and cons, and I believe that things happen at the right time, and 2 years ago was the right time for me to start a business.
That's great. So naturally, my next question comes up. What advice would you give aspiring social entrepreneurs like yourself?
I think that's a great question. This is something that I had to figure out for myself in the early sort of days and months of starting Cashee, is what is it in my makeup that resonates with my business. And I went through this exercise of discovering my personal values. And what I realized is, of my personal values, and there are about 6 or 7 of sort of your key ones, there was one where I was very keen on making a positive impact in the world. And for me, this just was such a beautiful connection with Cashee, because even though Cashee is a for-profit business, for me, everything that I'm doing, I'm constantly thinking about how can we really make a positive impact through the product, through our marketing. What is my end goal after 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, whatever it is how am I actually making a difference in the lives of kids, in the lives of families? So my advice to aspiring social entrepreneurs would be, is you need to connect a personal value with the value or the cause that you're working towards in your business. Because if you do that, it just makes decision making so much more easier than it would be otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I see from your answers that Cashee is, aiming for a much larger mission and vision across the UAE. So given we're looking so far ahead, I want to ask now, what's the next step for Cashee and what are you most excited about that's up and coming?
Launch date.
Launch, right? I'm
Yeah,
excited for the launch.
We're geared up. We have, like I think I may have mentioned this before, we have around 21,000 teens already. They've downloaded our pre-launch application and they're in our pipeline. And we're just literally waiting for the floodgates to open and for us to launch Cashee. This is going to happen in a couple of weeks and we're ready. So we have a full team that's ready. We are testing the application right now. And we are so excited because this is this is a dream, not a dream. This is, this is something we've been working on for the last 2 years, and this finally coming to fruition. So we are so excited to get cards out there, get, teens to use the cards, to use the application, and most importantly, for us to get feedback on how we can improve and how we can take it to the next level. So this is the number one thing that we're excited about.
Yeah, and I'm glad for it. We're having our pitch day coming up for the Social Incubator program on July 28th, and it's going to be very exciting to see Cashee speak to a room full of investors pitching this fantastic idea that we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes. So it's going to be super exciting, and I'm really glad that you're part of the program. We're getting so much from the insight you provide as well. So thank you again, Smeetha, for joining us in another episode of startAD Studio. It was an absolute pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, Sabira. I really appreciate it. Thank you.